Great. Good evening, everyone. So, welcome to this another open discussion. And today's topic is going to be how to survive a long distance relationship. So, in these open discussions, we keep it open and interactive so that all of us can communicate and we can talk about whatever you're going through, or maybe any experiences that you have, any stories that you want to share, or any questions that you want to talk. So, that's how these interactions go. So please interact, please share, communicate with us, and let's see how this conversation flows, where it goes. So beginning with just the topic that how to survive a long distance relationship. So I'll share a little bit of my personal story, then I'll come to all of you. So I have been in a long distance relationship, and it was a long relationship, and it was a long distance one. So yes, I can speak from my own experience that things get tough at times in long distance relationships because there are certain things that you get to observe, see, understand about your partner when you're together. You know, how do they do things, how do they want things, and a lot of things are not there in front of our eyes when we are not physically present with each other. And sometimes in long distance relationships, people also live across cities, across states, or maybe even across countries. So it even gets really hard for them when it's not possible to travel again and again. And at that point of time, um, maintaining the beauty of the relationship, the health of the relationship, sometimes becomes struggling. So that's what we are going to see, how we can, in a healthy way, survive these relationships and make the best out of these. And that's what today's discussion is going to be about. In my personal journey, my relationship was a really long distance one, and we could still meet. I could still meet my partner, but then it was not possible all the time. So some dates here and there in 2 3 months, kind of. But it there used to be a lot of talking. So what I understood from there, that connecting with each other on a daily basis and talking to each other, communicating, not all the time, because it's not important that you talk all the time with each other, but sharing in bits and pieces about how your day went, what happened during the day, if there was any there are any good parts, any bad parts, anything good happened, anything bad happened, whatever happened throughout the day. If we can share it with the other person, it builds a lot of context, and they're able to connect with you in a way where they are kind of, even if not there with you physically present, but they can see your story from, your eyes. They can at least feel that, okay, this is what is going on in my partner's life, and that helps them to connect with you a lot. So this was one important, very important point that I observed in that relationship, which helped me build keep the sanity of the relationship alive. So that was one thing. Now we will come back to many more points. But before I speak anything, now I would like to hear from the people here. So Ishu is here, Sneha, Nitesh, Viresh, and guys, Akarma, Kumar, and Vanshika. If you guys have had a long distance relationship too, then please feel free to share or ask anything. Over to you guys. Please, Viresh, go ahead.
Hi. Yeah, so I had two long distance relationship. So I think I'm sort of experienced, or didn't manage the first one well, apparently very clearly. So what I felt, I struggled rather with this thing is actually, for me it was difficult to support each other in this long distance relationship setup sort of thing, right? So when you're together with your partner, it sort of becomes more easy, and you meet and sort of just to back each other up on a daily basis is much more easier. So, but when you're really in different cities for really long time, that sort of takes a toll on our like daily energies. So that's one thing I struggled with. And the other thing is also like managing our schedules, like in the busy schedules, like we travel a lot on work, so uh, trying to uh, make sure we communicate regularly about what's happening in our lives. That also sometimes becomes sort of at the end of the day, you have very less energies to like talk about all of these things. And so actually in my first relationship, sort of the after a point of time, we were like just like TK, like let's talk some other time when we meet up or catch up. And sort of the spark that we would like talk every day and share is sort of like I realized later that it went down after being away for long time. So I'm consciously trying to put that effort right now, but again I think it's I feel like I have to be very conscious about it. This has been my experience.
Right, right. What is there anything that you're struggling with right now?
I think, yeah, like the point I told, it's basically when your partner is down, like just being there, right? It's much more easier and effective when you are in person. And actually, if you are like in some other place, like supporting over phone and just that thing, right? It's not a very effective way, I feel. But yeah, so that's something I'm
Yeah.
still trying to be better at.
I get your point, like totally. Because there are times when you're like really happy and you want to share it with your partner, and there are times when you are like in a broken state and you want to cry, but then you don't have your partner around.
Right, right.
Right, right. So
And it
now,
sometimes happens like you have something, you had a great day and you just want to go and share with your partner, and they really don't have the time that day. And you sort of feel really bad, like, Arey, yaar, like this was one thing I wanted to do the whole day and it's not happening, sort of thing.
hmm, hmm. Right, right. And that's where, I guess, um, communicating this thing with each other is is really really important, right? So the thing is that even when you are living with your partner in the same house, right, there will be
Mhm.
times when you want to come home and share things with them, but they are busy at work, right, and they are doing something else, right? So this even happens in people who maybe even live in the same house. Now the thing is that at that point of time, that's true that that is what we want to do, but the thing is that what facts are there, what situation is there, that situation is something which we cannot do anything about at that point of time, right? So later, when both the people can, you can talk to your partner that this is what I wanted to share with you, and um, see when they are available and then talk to them, right? Because this is something, these are something, some points in long distance relationships which you really cannot do anything about, but then you can only figure out good alternatives to, you know make up of the situation. So these are some facts of long distance relationship. It's just there, because the next trip or the next vacation or the next visit maybe happens after a week or 10 days. Hmm. Right. Anybody else has anything to share? Vanshika, Vanshika is there.
Yeah, hi Anamika.
Yeah. Hi, there's anything you want to share on this point?
I was just hearing your conversations and I could really relate to it because I was also once like in a long distance relationship two times, and it's been very difficult to, have keep up with the pace of both like me, myself and my partner. So kabhi, there are time problems, time issues hote hain kabhi. So people would go abroad and travel and everything. So वो टाइम जोन का प्रॉब्लम होता था, एंड फिर वही एनर्जीज नहीं रहती है, टाइम नहीं मिलता था बात करने के लिए, कुछ ना कुछ काम में बिजी रहते हैं. सो देयर आर लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स अनलेस एंड until इट्स लाइक बार बार यू हैव टू keep establishing that connect, so it becomes sometimes very tiring and बहुत frustrating लगता है. It's like फिर लगता है कि मतलब ऐसे फिर पॉइंट क्या है रिलेशनशिप में रहने का, व्हेन यू आर नॉट एबल टू बी टुगेदर, स्पेशली फिजिकली. जो एक फिजिकल इंटीमेसी होती है, जो एक पर्सन टू पर्सन जब हम लोग इंटरैक्ट करते हैं, सामने बैठ के कम्युनिकेट करते हैं, वो बहुत अलग इसका वो आता है इफेक्ट, और मतलब वो फीलिंग बहुत अलग होती है. वो ऑनलाइन नहीं आ सकती, आप कितने भी वीडियो कॉल्स कर लो, बट वो नहीं, वो फीलिंग नहीं आता है. दैट्स व्हाट माय एक्सपीरियंस हैज बीन. एंड फिर अल्टीमेटली ऐसा लगता है कि जस्ट एंड दिस रिलेशनशिप बिकॉज you start having a lot of different kind of issues, anxieties होने लगती है, फिर insecurities develop हो जाती है. So I had been through these kind of things, like insecurity हो जाती थी मेरे को. I used to get anxious and everything, and then I ended it कि what is the point. And फिर वो एक हो जाता है कि एक person है ना, वो ज़्यादा मतलब he will be only receiving and I was giving. So I got tired and frustrated, and so then I ended the relationship. That's what my experience was. It's really difficult. ऐसा नहीं है कि long distance relationships में लोग नहीं रह सकते, but again it needs a lot of work, I guess.
Yes, I too feel the same, because there are certain things which you miss, and that those things can be done, only when you're physically present with your partner. Now, uh, one thing that helps is probably, to bring this clarity in the relationship, that why two people are in the relationship. So when people don't have, it's usually dicey in nature, right? Like, for an example, when you don't have a plan that, okay, after 2 years or 3 years or anything, so we are going to get married, or we see the future of the relationship, or even if not get married or shift to same cities together. But if we do not provide certainty to the other partner, because see, the whole point of coming in the relationship, one requirement is to feel certain and safe and secure. That is the basic, one of the six first fundamental basic human need indeed. So if that clarity can be brought to the relationship by both the partners, that um, this is how we see ourselves together in whichever form possible, then it helps. But when in relationships, this thing is not there, and वो आजकल का ऐसा है ना कि हाँ ठीक है देखेंगे जो चलेगा, and all that. And I'm not questioning that, I'm not saying that that is bad, but I'm also not sure that um, how healthy or how certain those relationships can be, because the foundation itself is like कि चलेगा, देखेंगे, right? And no matter how much people say कि I live in the flow and I live moment to moment and all of those things, the truth is that as a human being, as this body mind, as this matter, your first basic fundamental need is safety and security. Because when that safety and security is shaken, at that same point of time, we don't feel safe and stable, right? So why there's this fight which happens inside us if we keep telling these things to ourselves कि हाँ देखेंगे चलेगा हो जाएगा कर लेंगे, right? Because we are somewhere denying and bulldozing a very basic need which is there. And that also shows that um, we have not brought alignment to, what, where we are and what we want in life. So I'm not saying that those things are bad per se or should not be done, but even if those things are being done, then they should come out of a lot of clarity that, okay, this is how it is, but there are other factors and other areas involved too, and we need to look into it. So otherwise, when this thing is not there, then certainly most long distance relationships do not work, and they end up, breaking up. Or yes, Viresh, anything you want to say?
Just on the lines you're saying, I think my similar experience has been that long distance is a downhill in the relationship. The more you sort of stay apart from each other, like the more risk or sort of harm to the relationship, right? So is there a healthy sort of thing where say till when you can be healthily be apart, and like after that, like you obviously can't be 5 years apart from each other sort of thing, right? So what's your experience been like? So in general, couple who stay away, what sort of thing should they be looking at in general?
In general, if we talk about, the thing is that different people are different. And I have even seen couples. There was one couple, there is one couple which I know, and they were in a long distance relationship of 10 years, and then they got married. But the kind of people they were both kind of very studious. They both had like laser sharp clarity in their life that this is exactly what we want, right? And that is what I observed in their relationship, that there was no tilting. They both had so much clarity in the relationship that and and um, and there were many ups and downs in the relationship. Of course, every relationship has that, but that clarity allows you to talk in a certain way, do things in a certain way. And they took the relationship forward for 10 years, got married, and they are there. But now there is, in general way, if we talk about, because human beings are so different, each of us have different, proportion and intensity and diversity of needs that we have in different um, intensities. We want those needs to be met. Plus, we all speak different love languages, right? So we all speak differently. We are so unique in nature. Plus, other than that, we all have different personality types. So when it comes to these kind of relationships which work on for a decade or something, there's those miraculous formulas, which somehow stick together, and they were able to fit the puzzle pieces together, right? But if there is another couple, right, and it's not that people are right or wrong, it's about that where they are on their journey and whom they're encountering. And in case in their situation the puzzle pieces do not meet, and in most cases it does not in case of long term relationships, because we all have those, needs, and we all have those wants and desires and whatever. And when the puzzle pieces do not meet, after a certain point of time, somebody gets tired and they start feeling that, oh God, it's not working, too much effort now, right? And then it starts falling apart. And that does not mean that it cannot be balanced, it cannot be maintained in a healthy way, right? But that is the thing that would need effort, intention, and actions in that way, and that too on a regular basis. So just that these efforts are going to be a little bit different than the efforts that we put in the physical, when we're physically present with our partners. Only the reason being, being physically present, it becomes easier, and it's a little tougher because you run out of options. Like Vanshika said, right, that couples like sexting is a way to physically connect with each other, but no matter how much you do that, you cannot replace sexting with actually touching your partner, right? Doing activities together, so you can watch movies on Netflix together, but you cannot replace it with the experience of going to pick your partner and physically going with them to movies. But the thing is that clarity has to be there, that okay, this is the part that right now I'm aware that I'm compromising, and I'm compromising it for a certain benefit in the future. And I feel certain that I'm going to get that. I feel that's safety and security and assurance.
I think I can relate to one emotion that you told, the tiredness of being in long-term relationship. I think that is what I felt during the like in my previous relationship. We were not conscious of how much uh, uh, toll it was taking on both of us, our energies. But yeah, I think when we decided to sort of part ways, also it was uh, uh, because we felt that it was no longer like and we couldn't also stay together at that point, and but it was like so much we were draining our energies, and we sort of became quiet after some point in time. So yeah, I can relate to that.
And that one ways we cannot say that this is a full-fledged solution to solve all the long distance relationship problems. But one way to deal with it is to develop that connection, right? That connection with your partner. And what do we mean when we say developing that connection? Means connection, not how should I say it? Not only on the basis of that we like talking and everything, but also on the basis of how vulnerable two people can be with each other, how much they know about each other, and how much they know about each other intellectually, emotionally, right? And even in terms of um, the daily life, small things that happen. And developing that connection, even spiritually, from all different angles, the more deeper it goes, it at least enhances the chances that people are going to put more intention and efforts in keeping the relationship alive. Yeah. So at least we can minimize the chances of um, um, getting this tired wala feeling. Right. Anybody else has anything to share? Nobody has anything to share? Any experiences? Any stories? Any challenges you guys are facing?
So I quickly share a story about my long distance relationship. So, but then it was a long time back. However, it had still impacted me to the sense that if I have somebody approaching me now for marriage and all, and if they're not available in the same city, I usually avoid even initiating anything. It is because so I was in a relationship with somebody who was in the army, and as you know that they are usually posted and not around. So having somebody on and off um, was certainly fine with me initially, but later on it led to a lot of insecurities, possessiveness, and it had even led to a stage where a fear was built up of something had happened to that person. And because of all these things, I mean, it's a long story, but then I'm trying to give you a little brief. That these are the things that had impacted me to an extent that now, if somebody, in fact, yesterday only I was connected with somebody who was based out of US for the from the matrimonial side, and as the person might not be available for another 2 3 months, did not even bother to initiate the conversation or go ahead with it, because I don't even know if we can get along or not, and how soon we can actually take things ahead, and how much his non-availability will lead to a lot of things in me, is what I have understood. Hello.
Yeah, yeah. Hello,
Yeah.
am I audible?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay,
You are.
okay. Yeah, yeah. I totally understand that. But then, wasn't there any future with him? Like there was no scope to see if you could shift to the same city or something like that?
I can, but then to again, somewhere I have rejected the fact that I do not, I or accepted the fact that I probably might not be able to take somebody who's not available, or have somebody in my life who's not available.
Right, right. Yeah, obviously. Yes, yes.
So later
Yeah.
on, maybe
Yeah.
once if we would have married and we would have shifted to the same cities, then definitely things would have been different. But then even at the initial stage, I didn't wanted to take it ahead, because I have been there, done that, and I know how miserable I usually get if the person is not around. And in my second relationship, I have seen that impact happening, because in my second relationship, although it was a live-in relationship, but then whenever we used to part ways, I was not. Uh, I mean, it had a huge impact on me personally, that I would get possessive or feel insecure and all of that.
Hmm. And how do you know that would not happen if somebody starts staying with you?
um, because when somebody is there with me, I am not this person.
Mhm. But they'll also be going out of the house now sometimes.
That is fine. I'm not talking about somebody going out of this. We are living in that era where people do travel a lot, even for their work or their time, so that they need me time. However, I'm only talking about having that long distance relationship or disconnect for at least a month or two or so, uh, where the person is not available for a long hours. And I know that where it is coming from, because I remember my I've done a lot of analysis to find out why do I feel this way. Because when I was a child, my father was not available most of the times, and having him not around was miserable for me, and my mom as well. So I probably picked it up from there.
Okay. Hmm. Okay. Okay. But then I guess still, if this thing is still there in you, so I mean,
Hmm.
see, making a choice that you want an emotionally available and physically available partner is okay,
Hmm.
right? It's only about seeing if it is still coming from that wound, that fear of yours, or if it is coming from just that's how you want it, and it's okay. Like even if it is coming from that fear, still, so there's not such a thing like you have to deal with it like right now, to see it. So there will be a time when it is required for you to be release that thing, but just at least bringing first the awareness that that is how it is, Abhi, for the time being. That is,
Hmm.
I guess, good. And I guess you have that awareness with you.
Okay.
Great. Yeah, thank you for sharing this, Neha. And I get what you're sharing. Cool. Anybody else would like to share anything?
Probably I just want to add to what Sneha shared or you're talking about is one of the most important things, probably in any kind of relationship, not just long term, is what I think is trust. Possibly the most common problem in all the relationships, including long term relationship. Mistrust is one aspect actually which is very prone to this kind of relationship, which is long term. Because of the physical distance between partners, they may find it difficult to really trust each other completely, 100%. Due to lack of trust, these kind of relationships may start pulling apart mentally and emotionally, which can cause harm than physical distancing. So probably when problems are innate in any relationship, but it is lack of trust between these two people or couples, which poses a serious threat, which I think is there in long-term relationship. As in the beginning we were discussing, that's why probably most of the long-term relationship doesn't work really well. This just a thought, because trust is one of the most important pillar in any relationship.
Absolutely, Kumar. Now, as you have brought up this topic of trust, so now the thing is that is where, in these points, a lot of self-awareness and self-observation and self-work comes into picture. Is to see that, are we projecting our own mistrust of our own past? I mean, what are the things that we are projecting on the relationship, right? And I mean, people can be there, like, apart from each other for months and months, and they would not cheat on each other or do anything like that. But still, if those things are being projected, right, then it's like a hole that we dig for ourselves. Like, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy that happens, that you keep thinking about it, and then you keep questioning the other person, and the other person feels that they are being their character is being, like, assassinated, and they're being questioned for a crime that they have not even done. And that brings also a lot of cracks in the relationship, right? So this projection trap is something which a lot of us fall into, because we start projecting what we have inside ourselves on other people, right? And despite the fact whether we know if they have done something or not done something.
Absolutely. This reminds me of this saying which says, "What you see in others exists in you." Yeah, isn't it so right that we just project those things onto others, and we start mistrusting, or because the person himself or herself are not uh, trustworthy, and we start projecting it onto the person or the partner. Yeah, right.
Yeah. That also does not mean, I mean, we get blinded by, that we have to trust, and we have to not see things that are happening. If things are, it's only about seeing things as they are, right, rather than projecting things that are inside us. Like, a lot of people have this syndrome of good people syndrome, right, that which I have had. So I have had that mindset that I need to see good in everybody and everything, right? So I'll start, if something wrong is happening, then also I'll mask it with, um, you know that there are good things in that. But the thing is that, I was still not seeing things the way they were. So the point is that, not going to the extremes, that you get blinded, and also not projecting that you start projecting your own wounds and own traumas and own baggages on other person, right? So it's being in that point of awareness that, okay, this is how things are, and this is how they are not.
I want to say precisely actually am I audible?
You are, Seema.
Good evening, everyone. And how are you,
Evening.
everyone?
Very good, thank you.
So then, if we are saying that long distance relationships maybe work totally on the this trust and understanding. So I was just wondering about then, though that Navy and Army people, even their wives and like husband and wives are not there like with each other, but their marriages also go very fine sometimes. Like people can say no, no, it doesn't work, you don't know what it is. Like many people tag Navy wives also, but I know many people in my friend circle who are like belonging to Navy's wives, so they are doing very well. They do video calls and all, and their husbands just come for maybe a month's time. So when I asked my friend that how does it work, it's like totally like you shared, Anamika, was that the trust, and maybe making yourself understand at times that this is what I made a choice. I mean, and stand by it. So any relationship, whether I feel it's a long distance or it's a like a physical, like we can see in person a person, it's all about the commitment and the trust, or consciously standing by your choices and making it work. Um, that's what I was just thinking. So thought I'll share. Like, I don't know if it's relevant to whatever we are like in talking about the topic.
No, no, it absolutely makes sense, right? Yeah, yeah. Taking ownership and responsibility of that. This is the choice that I have made, right? And still, that does not mean that if you have made a choice, then you cannot change your choice. But at least we can own this much thing, that this is the choice I had made, and I thought that this is how it will work, and this is how it is going to work. And over a certain period of time, in during the relationship, we find out a lot of things, right? And we again get a chance that we can make a different choice, or we can stand by the same one, right? So,
Yeah, so
but
if we are talking about taking ownership and choice, that is, I think, in my opinion, it is like, sorry, I interrupted you. It's like basically making your choice. When I said that and taking ownership was that standing by whatever decision I've made, and definitely not ignoring the red flags or whatever wrong is there in the relationship, which I think can be in the long distance also, and can be in the personal relationships where we meet each other day to day, but still we are not able to find it out what is wrong, or maybe sometimes the information just flows in. So I think it's in any relationship that, making a choice and at least trying to uh, share the share it with your partner 100%. But if it doesn't work out, or if you're finding out the red flags, then definitely the choice can be changed, and definitely one should step out of any toxic relationship, or for that matter, even if something is not working out, there is a polite way to end it, rather than carrying forward for the heck of it, or whatever.
and it doesn't even have to be like toxicity in the relationship, in not just in long distance relationship, but in any relationship. If there is a time, if there is a time when it has, you have arrived to a place where you see that that is not what I want from my life, right? So not pushing yourself in the direction because, oh my god, I made a choice, now I have to stand by it and I have to live my life like this. Because even if you live a life like that, you are not happy, and if you're not happy, you're not going to make anybody else happy, right? So when you are unhappy, you're in fact going to make everybody else unhappy. So then at that point of time, that makes no sense um, to unnecessarily continue the relationship. So happily two people, and happily in the sense, I would rather say consciously, because separations and all of these things are usually not very happy, because even if the partners are happy, then the family is unhappy. So there is somebody, of course, who's unhappy in the process, and that's temporary. right? So that's about making alternative choices, and that's okay, right? Because at the end, it's all about if it is win-win for everybody in the relationship. And that also does not mean that you give up on the relationship before even trying, right? Before even like kuch hua nahi ki, and then you run away from the relationship. Not in that way, but making a conscious choice, ये awareness आने के बाद कि हाँ, अभी this is what I want, and if this is not this way, then everybody is going to be unhappy.
So yeah, so Anamika, so when we are saying that I'm making a conscious choice and I know my partner is a long distance person, so am I not like already knowing the pros and cons of it? I cannot blame it on the partner. Yeah, it can be, but when I'm choosing consciously about a relationship, which is a long distance, I must be aware of the pros and cons already, right? So then making it work and being patient around it, if it is good and if it doesn't have the red flag, and just because maybe sometimes we get influenced by people or we start feeling little frustrated about not meeting the person in physicality, sometimes people lose the authentic relationships because one partner starts feeling very frustrated and the other is not able to fulfill those demands or needs. So that's why I said, when you are making a choice, whether it's physically uh, like easy to meet a person in every day, and whether it's a long distance, I think pros and cons of every relationship, we somewhat, we superficially we know it, but then consciously choosing it means I already know that what it would be, but then in the process I am like over demanding or something that I don't understand, because then somewhere I'm not actually sure about my choices then.
What you're saying makes a lot of sense, that if I'm making a conscious choice right now, then at least I'll be aware about the pros and cons, and that's true. But the thing is that as we move on in the relationship, right, we sometimes there are still things which lie in the unknowable, and which we, like for an example, the Schrodinger's cat experiment that happened, right? So most of the things in our lives are like that we don't know how it is going to turn out the moment we open the door, and then we realize that okay, the cat is dead or alive. So at the beginning of the relationship, of course, even when you're in physicality, you're together with somebody, you start it with the intention that you are going to make it work and you're going to stay with this person. But then at a certain point of time, be it long distance or normal relationship, you realize that it's not working out. It's not what you thought it would be. And you realize that you people are very different, or things are just not working out. For an example, somebody who has, let's suppose, a love language of physical touch, right? So it's not something that they can do anything about that. It's just it's mean that they want to touch the people physically all the time, but the expression of love is like that. So when that is something that they feel that it's just not happening, right? That you cannot hug your partner, you cannot even hold their hands, and you feel so deprived and you don't know how to express, because no matter how much you're trying to express it in all different ways, possible ways, but still there are things which are being left out. And the point is that over a certain period of time, for a lot of people, it becomes very taxing and tiring. So even if they made a choice, they had an intention, so they just change over a period of time. But what you're saying, that makes sense, that of course things can be worked out. And that's why I guess you joined a little late. So when we were talking to, I guess, Viresh in the beginning, yeah, so that is what we were saying, that there will be these difficulties, there will be. So the point is that having that clarity, that why are you in this relationship, Where are you taking it, right? And what plans and what things you're going to do in future. If both the partners have clarity on that, you can talk about it, speak to each other about it, and you know that for this period of time you're going to meet your needs in this and that way, then yes, that's how you can, in a healthy way, work it out.
Yeah.
So then I have a query for my own self. Then how the selfless love and unconditional love is placed? I mean, if these are not conditions, then is it not a conditional love then? I just want to understand.
Hmm. 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 The universe, not universe, but at least where we live is a conditional place.
Yeah, human beings are always conditioned with something
It
or the
is.
other. Yeah,
Yes.
actually.
So the moment we also say that I'm implying no conditions, that no conditions in itself is a condition. That no conditions.
Yeah, actually.
So it's just literally like at least in this plane, it's kind of impossible to not have conditions. It's impossible. So it is there,
Yeah.
right? And naturally you're created like that, then where's the fight?
या जहाँ प्राणी वहीं पे सबसे ज्यादा लोचा.
And love is a state of being, right? It is a state of being. It's not a thing. It's how should I say? It's not a state of doing is a part of it, right? It's the expression of different ways. So let's suppose you ask something from me, right? And
Okay.
usually how people see unconditional love is that no matter what Seema asks from me. So you maybe tomorrow get up and ask that Anamika give me a Mercedes, right?
अरे
And
हाँ
no,
ना.
and I'm going to say no to you, right? Let's suppose I'm going to say no to you. So people will say that then I don't love you enough, right? But then the point is that no has love in itself. For an example, your child is going to do something wrong and you shout at them. That in itself has love, right? So it's not, people think that if you are in love, then you say yes to everything. And that's not how it is. Yes, Kumar, you were trying to say something.
No, Lata raised her hand, so I thought, Lata, you can unmute
Okay,
yourself.
thank you for letting us know. Please,
Hey,
Lata.
hi everyone. Yeah, so I
Hello.
just wanted to share my story over, just my 2 cents on this long distance. So I've been married, I
Please.
think, around 9 years, and I've been into long relationships since the start. I mean, it's been most of the time. I mean, I hardly spend time with my husband together. He has always been traveling. So I think trust is there, but eventually, when you see to it, if the other person is absent for very long, then the vacuum is created, and how to say it. Then you get adjusted to that. And if the person then again comes back, suppose it is a long term, and then for 1 year or 2 year the person is not there. That vacuum was there initially, but then you get adjusted to it. And if the person then again comes in, it gets difficult to adjust with that person again because it's a new thing, right? Even digital relationship is very different than having someone around during a difficult times, right? You can call, discuss, and but not everything can be uh, person being available physically, helping and listening to your emotional things. So I think that matters the most. For 6 months, 1 year, I think it is fine. But for very long, if the person is absent, I think then it becomes an issue, and that then the other person will definitely fill that vacuum, and there will be no place for the other person then.
Absolutely. And
Okay.
totally, yes, all right.
Okay.
And
You said 6 months, 1 year. That's That's
6
way
months, yeah,
like
6 months, people, yeah, 6 months is fine. Digital relationships do happen, over the chats, it can connect. But in my life, I have been through many phases where I wanted him to be physically present, be it during the pregnancy, the childbirth, or while raising him, shifting houses, and all, right? So, all these things, many, many things, right? Even for schooling, if I have to search for the school, I have to go alone. So, the burden is there on only one partner. So, for long, that person cannot carry that burden.
hmm.
Complete relationship का पूरा जो 80 to 90 100% में it is 50-50 should be there, right? Some responsibilities with the other partner and some with this partner, right? So if it is coming everything onto the one person, for long that person cannot carry it.
Yeah, yeah. So that was because of a situation that his work is like that, or something like that, or it's just by choice.
So initially it was by choice. Uh, we make a choice and then for 6 months you are fine, okay. But eventually when you see it, because you did not see all those challenges that will come, you can, initially you can adjust. But for a very long term, it is very difficult. For short term, it
Hmm.
is fine. I mean, you can get adjusted if love is there. Love is there for sure. But I mean, the absenteeism uh, is obviously there is. It's not negotiable. I think I have adjusted a lot, but now I feel that was a mistake because people take you for granted, and then they see that you have already handled a lot, and then you're capable of it, and then they take you for granted. So that is what happens. I mean, and if you are, I mean, the long distance does make you strong as well. I mean, it's good to have time for yourself and all, but for long, if you are going through a low phase and if you have to handle all alone, I think then uh, it's better to be out of it then.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Of course. I mean, yeah.
Yes.
Namika, I know people like since I am a single parent and I am in a single parent community, I know people,
Mm.
couples who have separated just because of the absenteeism of one of the partner, because again,
Mm.
like I said, there are so many things that, okay, love is there, but taking care of everything alone, one partner is taking their care of all the responsibilities, then at one point of time you start thinking कि मतलब अगर मुझे ये सब करना है तो ये रिलेशनशिप का पॉइंट क्या है, और बात नहीं हो पा रही है कोई, फिर वो टेकन फॉर ग्रांटेड हो जाता है लॉन्ग लॉन्ग पीरियड तक, द पर्सन डजंट अपीयर और
Correct.
टेकिंग केयर ऑफ he the either partner is not like, he's like ठीक है जैसा है वैसे चलने, तो वैसा वैसा एटीट्यूड भी हो जाता है, तो आई वाज टॉकिंग टू फ्यू ऑफ सिंगल पेरेंट्स एंड दे वर सेइंग कि एब्सेंटिज्म की वजह से भी ये लॉन्ग डिस्टेंस है या वर्क की वजह से है, जो भी है, बट इट बिकम्स रियली वेरी डिफिकल्ट एंड एट सम पॉइंट इट बिकम्स टॉक्सिक टैक्सिंग आल्सो, और फिर that's why we got separated. That's what like some of the single
Correct.
parents were sharing
Correct.
their journeys with me.
Yeah, Vanshika,
Yeah.
totally agree. I think Seema was telling a few things that, it was agreed upon. Yes, I mean, girls have tendency to adjust. I mean, they'll never say no to it if the love is there and all is right. But for after 6 months, 1 year, you definitely expect someone to be their emotional support, or the person, the male partner needs to be there, or the other partner needs to be there to support in other parts of the life, right?
Yeah, so Lata, uh,
Hmm. Hmm.
from my life experience, because I've been in that marriage where, so when we are talking about long distance, so I was just wondering in my mind that even in the married couples, one start taking more responsibility and other becomes very comfortable. After hearing you, I could resonate it because it has happened with me. The distance became and every responsibility was with me. And yes, you miss your partner, and there are times where you are like so frustrated, so tired, so exhausted, but your partner is not there, right? And so I think it's not only with a long distance relationship, it's more of it comes from the conscious choice. So if one person is adjusting more, how much you will make a conscious choice of being with a person who is always absent, or who is just having an excuse every time. So in my marriage, there was not only absentism, but there was a lot of things with it. Like there was cheating, there was betrayal, it had abuse. So it was like in my marriage, I was all the time alone. So I still remember the day I decided to be separated with my ex, and I cried because my trust had gone. It's not that it was going, when people will say, why are you cried? Because, you know, that false hope that I used to keep giving myself, that it will get fine, it will get fine. But, you know, I kept adjusting over and kept expanding myself to a point where I feel not regretful, but I feel I wish I could have stood for myself much more, and it would have saved my time and energy, and maybe my age also. So yeah, and the day I came to know about his emotional affair, you won't believe it. The shock that I got was this: that he was more than ready to get separate, and I went in a shock because I was like, what? Like, you know, I'm here taking care of your kid, this house, every responsibility on me. And I'm thinking that you have gone abroad to work. Nowhere in my mind had that you are gone abroad, not abroad for work, but for your affair, you know? So, yeah, I think it's more than long distance. It's sometimes become a long distance in your very personal relationships, like your marriages. Even when you see people day to day, sometimes they start taking you for granted. So that is what I'm saying. Ki consciously, when we take the responsibility of choosing a person, we all know the pros and cons, but then how much you want to take it, and how much we are saying yes to something that is not workable. I would like to understand from Makarma, Anamika, Vanshika, Kumar also, that how, say, supposing some people are dating, because this is not the topic, but maybe someday, is that I'm very curious about one question, is that I want to understand that, like, if you're not, like, you started dating somebody and somewhere you start to know that, you know, we are not going to be a good partnership, but how to very politely move out of it. My problem is this: I want to understand how politely you can say no. I mean, maybe you have dated each other for 6 months and you have invested time and all, but you realize this is not going to go anywhere. So how politely one can be out of it?
I was just wondering, Sipa, you're asking how to politely move away, but we are talking about how to stay stronger together, isn't it? So, anyways, but just to add about this long-term relationship, one of the things which Seema was sharing initially was, why army women are so happy. I don't see that they're unhappy. They're getting on with their life and all. So I was just curious, and I was just checking Google and found out that 70% of long-term relationships actually fail, and only 30% succeed. So probably these women which Seema was mentioning comes under 30%. And again, I feel that these women, these relationships are so sorted that they are so comfortable in being honest with each other. I think as Anamika and we keep sharing about these things, these pillars, honesty is an important part of every relationship. But if you're trying long distance, it's even more essential, isn't it? The communication between each other must be at the top of their game. No.
Now, I will add to something you're saying, Kumar.
Okay.
It's either this that you're saying. The 30% people comprise of two different categories. It's either this that you're saying, that they're like extremely self-aware, emotionally intelligent, honest, and all that, or they're extremely the opposite.
Extremely the opposite, yeah.
Right? That they're so codependent on each other that they have like absolutely, or maybe they're so fearful that, maybe if I lose this person, I'm not going to find any other person on earth. So let me just stick to this relationship. जैसा भी है, सड़ा गला पूरा खराब भी है, but यही चला लेते हैं.
That is true, I think, yeah.
Correct. And that's where most women give these men, I mean, so-called men narcissists who are narcissists, कि अब बदलेगा, तब बदलेगा, बच्चे बड़े होंगे, तब बदलेगा. Yeah, मिलके रहेंगे तब बदलेगा. I mean, they
नहीं,
just
sometimes ये भी होता है कि women ना get too engrossed in responsibilities.
true.
Like just today only I was sharing with somebody कि जैसे वो घोड़े को पहना देते हैं ना कि सीधा एक ट्रैक में ही देखना है, वैसे I was blindly like totally into taking responsibility of my son single-handedly, and you know, because I had no clue कि बच्चे बड़े कैसे करते हैं. I had no help, you know, so it was like being a new mom. I was chaotic, you know, and so I didn't had this thing in my mind कि, but I know कि ये workout नहीं हो रहा है, but you know, but what to do? I dragged it in the walking. Okay,
For me, I am still dragging it. I haven't, gone for the separation. For me, it is like searching another person or going for the another one would be painful, and then it is another task getting added to the life is what keeping me still in the relationship, and also the societal taboo that they have for the separated folks. So I'm still not got that courage to move out.
Yeah, and yet I would say that it's very courageous of you to accept this in front of so many people, because at least you're talking about it, you're saying about it, you are aware about it. Otherwise, people don't even talk about these things. Yeah, let's see. Wait for the day when you can decide. Yeah, Kumar, anything you want to say?
No, nothing.
Great. So one uh, tip that I have, which people in long distance relationship can follow to keep it healthy and nice, and that is that making sure that your needs and your partner's needs are being met. So we all humans, we also have a course on under people psychology section of e-learning journeys, 7 core needs of human design, right? We all have those 7 needs of ours. So it's very healthy when this thing is realized, that when two people, their needs are met, right? So they both do not have to look for unconscious and all of these manipulative or XYZ ways to meet their needs, but rather to meet your needs in a conscious way. And another thing, adding on to this topic, that because you are in a long distance relationship, and even if you're not in a long distance relationship, you are normally living with your partner, still your partner cannot meet your needs all the time, nor can you meet your partner's needs all the time. So it's the responsibility is on both the partners to meet each other's needs, but also on their own selves, that how in healthy ways they can meet their need of certainty, their need of variety, significance, the need of love and connection, growth, contribution, and freedom, right? So when these things are kept in check, so then we don't have to figure out unconscious ways, manipulative ways of meeting these needs. And the second thing which I had in mind is, again, coming back to a lot of self-work, that because in this case, even when you meet the need, but if you have past coming traumas, wounds, patterns, conditionings which are coming from the past, it's very obvious, it's very normal to project it on other people, right? So it's important that both the partners in the relationship, again, not just long distance, but any relationship, they continue their own work as well. And the good thing in relationships is that they work as mirrors, right? So once you get to know that your partner is mirroring or reflecting how you are inside, you can use that as a reflection, as an answer to what you need to work upon. So get in that space with your partner where not just you're watching movies together, not just you are talking about fun things together, or you're being vulnerable with each other, but also in the space where you two can evolve together. So again, this is applicable on all relationships per se. So those are the two things I feel. And also when it comes to love languages, just make sure that you do at least certain things with your partner in their love language, and you learn the art of, directly asking them that, could you do this for me? Then it would really be helpful. It would really be nice. It would really be great. So asking this thing from your partner is not a bad thing. In fact, when you do that, it is going to build the connection better, because they will feel that you ask something from them, एक हक feel होता है. They feel that, okay, you consider them a part of your life. So they want to contribute. So if you can have 7 fundamental needs, your partner also has 7 fundamental needs. And one of those needs is significance. Another one is contribution. Right? So everybody wants to be significant. Everybody wants to contribute. And when you ask your partner to speak in your love language, they're going to feel more happy about it. Rather than, so if you feel that, this would sound needy, this would sound clingy, overdoing, definitely. But sometimes asking does not hurt, right? So rather than thinking that they will just understand, they will just have some magical power and understand everything. Rather than that, just ask and make efforts to do things for them in their love language. If they like gifts, make sure that you give them something small here and there, give them something, or words of affirmation, acts of service, whatever it is. So those are a few things which I'm getting in my head. Anything to add from your side, Vanshika, Kumar, Akarma?
No, nothing, Anamika. You pretty much covered those things. Yeah, love language is such an important thing to understand what your partner really needs. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Cool. So that's that for today. Anybody wants to say anything? And by the way, Seema, your question that how do you politely get out of the relationship is simply to politely get out of the relationship. Go to your partner and have a really,
And say bye
really,
bye.
really
Sorry, we are not a
vulnerable
good match.
conversation. Yes.
I
So
don't want to fool around. I'm just don't want to wild out. So bye. Nice knowing you. काश इतना आसान होता, हाँ?
it's not. It's one of the difficult conversations to have. But then the thing is that having that kind of compassion and empathy, right?
Yeah.
And not running away from there, because क्या होता है, जैसे ही हम इस टाइप की कोई कॉन्वर्जेशन करते हैं किसी के भी साथ, तो हमारा फर्स्ट रिस्पॉन्स होता है ना कि वो बोल के भाग जाओ तुरंत, मतलब
Yeah.
not stick
Yeah.
around, but rather
True.
having that space of compassion, empathy for them, that it's going to hurt, and the best you
Yeah.
can do for them is just be there with them.
Yeah. Be around them. Yeah. Totally not disconnect. Maybe
Yeah.
be just around them, and slowly and gradually, when you see they're doing okay, then you maybe can disconnect.
Yeah, right. So the at least how I have dealt with these things
Mm.
is is sticking around, and not from the space because I'm feeling guilty or anything, but because
Yeah.
I
Getting it. Yeah.
genuinely loved them, and it's just that it doesn't work out, and it's better to end the relationship rather than sticking around and fooling around and
Yeah.
wasting other person's
True.
time, right? And
True.
also becoming aware of this thing that it's gonna hurt. They may say bad words, they
Of
may even
course.
abuse you,
Yeah. Yeah. Because they'll be very angry.
angry, and
Yeah.
they will
Okay.
understand over a period of time, or they may even not understand. But
Yeah. Of
that's
course. Of course.
yeah, that's not something we can do anything about.
So it's like creating a space around the person, just like we do it for our kids. Sometimes they throw tantrums for no reasons. We just have to be there for them. Like they'll initially will get used to it or accept it. Sometimes they don't even, but you have to create a space around them. You just be there and yeah.
Yeah.